You're on the air with Florenza, your podcast destination for authentic conversations with a twist. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and join me on this unique literary journey. Cheers!
Cue up the Spanish moss curtain and crank up the crickets. Today we're swooping back into Hawthorne, South Carolina with Dana Elmendorf, the Tennessee-born storyteller whose prose dances between shadow and light. You'll hear how Grave Birds, her Southern Gothic stunner from Myra, mixes whispered magic, family secrets, and devilish omens into a tale that keeps the living and the dead on the same tangled vine. Put your hands together and welcome Dana to the show. Thank you so much, Dana, for joining me on this episode of On the Air with Florenza, where we are going to discuss your book, Grave Birds. Before we do, I want to share with our listeners, especially those who are watching, I've got a different background today because we are on the heels of me teaching a writing workshop, and I didn't have enough time to drive the hour to the house. So Dana is coming on with me in the classroom, and we're going to jump in. So Dana, tell us just the elevator pitch about who you are and about your book, Grave Birds.
I'm Dana Elmendorf. I was born and raised in Tennessee, and I now live in Southern California with my family. My novel, Grave Birds, is about a woman who died and she's brought back to life, and she can now see grave birds. And they're manifestations of the dead's unresolved issues. So when a mysterious, handsome devil comes to town and brings biblical plagues with him, she has to get the grave birds to help her figure out why he's coming to town and before he destroys the town with the biblical plagues. So,
Ooh, and I did not realize this was very serendipitous. I didn't realize, I knew I was interviewing you. I knew what the book was about. I just grabbed my feathers as I was running out the door. So I think this is a sign.
I love them. I think they're gorgeous.
Do you have anything to toast to our show? I have water.
I have coffee.
Oh, well, cheers.
Cheers.
For those not watching, I don't have my normal fancy crystal glass or anything adult. I literally have a yellow solo cup with water from the what is
Water
that?
cooler out front.
Yeah, no, even worse, the one that
Tap
goes
water. Fountain.
Yes, the fountain. Oh, how far we've fallen from our pedestal. So you told us a little bit about grave birds during the episode that we did previously for our intermissions. Tell the listening audience a little bit about yourself and about grave birds, and then we're going to dive in with the questions.
So I was born and raised in Tennessee. I moved to Southern California probably more than 25 years ago. And Grave Birds is my second adult novel, and it's about a woman who she's died, been brought back to life. And she sees grave birds, which are manifestations of the dead's unresolved issues. So when a handsome bachelor comes to town, he brings biblical plagues. And so she needs the help of the gray birds to stop whatever he's bringing to town before he destroys it.
Now, diving into like this paranormal space, are you familiar with that from firsthand experience, or is this just a genre that you've always been drawn to?
I love all things paranormal and supernatural. I'm such a curious person. I find it fascinating, but I do have my own ghost experience that I've had that really I truly believe now that the dead like come and speak with us
Mhm.
even after life. My stepmother passed away about 25 years ago. And right after she passed away, I came back home to California and the closet light kept turning on and the TV kept turning on in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And it was so annoying. I was like, what's going on? And I first thought maybe somebody else's TV remote was controlling our TV, but we moved houses, changed, TVs, and it
Mhm.
still kept happening. And then around the same time, I spoke with my dad, and my dad goes, the weirdest things happening, the bathroom lights turning on and the TV's turning on every night. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's my stepmother. It's my
Yep.
stepmother. I was like, ah. And I realized, and then I was like, yeah, that's who it is, turning it on. And she did it for years, no matter what house we lived in or whatever. And I eventually it got unnerving and I had little boys. So I was like, all right, can you stop? I can't do this. And she stopped. She stopped for the
Yeah.
most part. Yeah.
It is so interesting talking to people who have had these supernatural experiences, and it's refreshing to talk to someone that understands, has kind of gone through it, versus you feel like you're speaking to someone that by the time you get home, they're going to call and their people are going to be knocking on the door with the straitjacket saying, "Come on, Dana, we got a little room for you."
So true. That's so true.
Now, so the concept of grave birds as an embodiment of unfinished business is brilliantly original. Like just the thought itself of grave birds. That's so fascinating. Were you inspired by any particular myth or folklore or personal experience outside of the experience with the stepmom?
Yeah, so I'm always looking, researching things, especially psychics and paranormals and things like that. And so I was researching how to advance your own gift, so I was trying to look up something like that and I came across a psychic website and in the comments a gentleman said something to the fact of what does it mean when you see everyone has a bird? And I was like, "What? That's weird." I just thought it was weird and I was like, there's a book idea there. I don't know what it is. So I copy and paste it in my book ideas notebook, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna let that marinate. And then later I was like, why would people have a bird? Well, birds are always associated with the dead. Certain,
Yeah,
crows bring
yeah,
messages from the dead and whatnot. And so I was like, okay, what if instead of everybody has a bird, what if only the dead have a bird? And a man walks into town with the bird on his shoulder. Now, what does that mean? And that's where the idea came from. And so after I got that, I just started fueling like, all right, what do they mean? What does it mean? I'm like, they're manifestations. Like, I feel like it's unresolved business. I think it
yeah,
just made sense to me. And, you take enough folklore that you research and learn, you can kind of make up your own.
yeah.
So grave birds is not like I'm from the South. It is not a Southern thing. It's just a complete made up concept.
When you were creating this idea, do you share your stories with your family as you're developing it? And if so, what were they thinking?
I tell like my friends and family like this, say, what are you working on? And I'll be like, tell them, they're like, oh, cool. They're not really that into it. I do have some writer friends that I bounce the ideas off, and I'm like, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking, and I'm thinking about doing this for the twist. And for this book, I had a friend was like, yeah, you're never gonna be able to do that. And I was like, I'm gonna try. And I went into it thinking, yeah, probably not gonna pull it off, but I'm gonna try
Yeah.
anyway. And I think I pulled it off pretty well. So we'll see, you know.
Dana said, "Don't tell me I won't do something. Stand back and watch me work."
That's so true.
So, Hollis's near death and resurrection is deeply haunting, right? Was that rooted in any true event or research you conducted on the afterlife, or did you yourself have a near death experience or anyone close to you?
I did not have one or did not know anyone that had one, but I am fascinated with people who have died and come back. They talk about seeing the light, they talk
Mhm.
about seeing themselves. I've seen so many shows on that, so many concepts. I find it fascinating. And I was like, and then sometimes you hear about people who come back and bring the dead with them.
Yes.
And so for me, that's where that concept came from. It's like, okay, I'm going to pull that. I mean, like, this would make sense if she died, she could see these now? And so that is originally where the idea kind of grew from my own curiosity.
Are you that person that once you start putting these stories together, do the stories continue to like stay with you? Are you able to kind of close them off to where you can sleep? Or are they like, Dana, 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 Dana?
That's exactly what they're like. Once my brain gets going, it can't shut off. It can't
Uh-huh.
shut off. Like I have to keep a notebook in my car or I do a voice memo because I have to be jotting down
Yeah.
notes. Like ideas will come to me and I'll just grab my phone and be like, voice memo, blah, 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 blah. And what if this? Half the voice memos I don't go back and listen to because I remember so much.
Yeah.
As soon as I get home, I do the notes. But yeah, my brain, once it gets going, it won't shut off.
When you were putting the story together and you're like, okay, I am going to stretch myself beyond recognition, right? How proud were you when you realized that you did the damn thing? Like you did it.
It's really cool. So I use this analogy, you have the Van Gogh painting and it's an incredible painting. And in my head, it's a Van Gogh. But when you put it down on the page, it looks like a crayon version. It is never the version. So you have to retweak and revise and revive. And it's still maybe, I don't know if I wouldn't call myself a Van Gogh, but the Van Gogh in my head
Yes.
finally got on the page. And I think that helps because my sister-in-law was really there. Like I was on a tight deadline. And I would send her a chapter every few days and she would get back to me feedback and I could adapt and
Yeah.
work. And so when you have that connection with somebody, you're able to shape it faster
Mhm.
than having to wait, send it to a friend, let them read it. So I think that helped me really shape it going through that first time. So that's how
Oh,
I end up doing it.
that is so good because not always do we have someone as creatives that we can entrust our crayon version of our writing to not just completely slam the project and then we end up getting so discouraged with it. So speak to that relationship that you have with her to where you can entrust her with your words and trust her to give you valuable feedback.
I think getting a critique partner is essential to writing. It is essential, and it's a trial and error process. You start off with a few sample pages here and there. You exchange pages with somebody else, and you'll know pretty quickly. Like if they say things and your gut goes, "Oh, cringe," then you're kind of like, "Ah, they're right." Or if they say something and you're like, "What? I don't know," then you know they're not a good fit. My sister-in-law happens to be an English lit major, and she's going to college to get to be able to teach at college, writing courses. And so she's the perfect fit. But I also have writer friends that over the years we've exchanged pages and papers, and it's really good because a good critique partner, it may not be the way they want it, but they know how to bring the best of you out of you. Like they
Yes.
know how to push you to get that okay, you can do better than this. It's a little cliche. I want a Dana version of this. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay, I can do that. And I also went to a writer's coach, and that writer's coach opened up my brain. And I mean, I went from being, level 2 writer to a level 6 writer. Like I skipped levels because once something clicks in your head, it just makes sense. And a really good critique partner or writer's coach can really open that up for you.
Oh, I love both of those tools that you put in there for us. Cain's walk with razor edge between savior and devil. How did you navigate crafting that mortally ambiguous character while keeping readers unsure of his true nature?
That was a challenge. I wasn't sure how to do that at first. So when I first started writing him, he was too much of a jerk. And I was like, wow, he's a real jerk. And same reflection, she was too mousy. And I was like, that's not who she is. And I remember those first pages I gave to a different critique partner, and she goes, that just doesn't seem like her character. And I was like, no, it doesn't. And so you slowly start to change that alliance, that balance. And I kept telling myself, okay, don't give it all to the reader. Don't give it all to the reader. Let them be curious. Let them be curious. And then the dynamic shift. And I am a huge enemies to lovers fan. And
Yeah.
so this is kind of like a dash of enemies to lovers. So they're butting heads at first, but they slowly start to see, get a connection between each other through what they're both searching for, and they
Uh-huh.
don't realize what they're both searching for, but they both have a suspicion about the other. So it just worked out naturally that they ended up needing each other to solve what they needed to solve.
Love that. Love that. Death, secrets, Southern Gothic atmosphere intertwine beautifully. How did your Tennessee roots and love for nature geekery inform the book's setting and the tone?
I think for me, I love the South. I love the beauty of the South. I'm a girl who sits on the back porch with my daddy and we watch the yard and the birds in the bird feeders and the deer come across. So like that is just natural in me and I just want to share that. And I also feel like I want the setting to be like a character in itself.
Mhm,
Like I
mhm,
want to give you all that charm and without smothering you with it. I don't want to smother you with it, but I want to show you all that charm and all that beauty and that southernism and that nature. And so for me, I just took favorite parts of what I love and what
mhm.
I'm passionate about and put that in the book because I feel like if you do that, then the reader can connect with it. They can
Yeah.
really understand what it is and feel it with you.
And what I appreciate is that I didn't get diabetes from the Southern sweetness. It was just enough sugar in my iced tea to where.
I love that. There was a few lines in the story that my editor was like, we need to cut this, we need to cut this. And I was like, oh, but I love that line. Oh, but I love that line. And I said, just why? Why? And then she was just like, it's a little too saccharine. And when she said that, I was like, oh, cut it. Cut
Yeah.
it. It's a little too saccharine, a little too voicey, a little too southern. And I was like, okay, I
Hmm.
don't want that. Like
Hmm.
I want it to have just enough sweetness, but not give you a cavity, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No cavities and definitely no diabetes. Done. We don't want that. We were just talking about that balance of mystery, of romance, of paranormal, and how going back to that Van Gogh, it's like different parts of that painting, right? To where no one part of it overshadowed the other. When you initially did your plot, like from the beginning, did any one element tend to overshadow the others and you had to pull it back so that you got that balance, or out the gate you knew how much of that pie each of those genres would get or subgenres would get?
Yeah, I am a pantser. I just sit down and start writing, so I have absolutely no idea where the story's going. But I will say the paranormal element is the first step. Like
Mhm.
I have to, my curiosity and excitement for that sets the stage. And then I know there's going to be some kind of mystery in the book. And so like I'll kind of start heading that direction. And then it just kind of starts gravitating. It's like, oh, I kind of want them to be a love interest. And so just as I start to fill out the characters, if I was writing it and I was like, they're just friends, I wouldn't have wrote that. But I
Mhm.
I kept feeling drawn toward him. So I was like, I don't know, I think there's a little something here. And I don't want to make a romance. I don't want it to be this or to that. I just want to have a little bit of everything, just a little sampler.
Yeah, just sample. Just sample. Speaking of samples, if you were having a backyard barbecue between um, grave birds and the south of sunshine of your characters, who would show up and totally show their ass, or who would sit back and just sip their tea watching it all unfold?
It would probably be oh gosh, that's a hard one. Okay, in Grave Birds, it would be Libby Hawthorne. She's one of the Hawthorns that you're like, what is this all about? And she would show herself the whole time and just it would be like, and I would sit back with my tea and be like, well, let's watch this drama unfold.
Nice. Who from southern, I keep missing my spot here, from south of sunshine would go put her in her place?
Ooh. Sarah Beth. Sarah
Mm.
Beth is she's a Southern, like doesn't take any slack off anybody and will just kind of tell you like it is. So whether you like it or not. So I think she would have her knock it off right quick
She
like.
like fix this. Let's talk about the audiobook. How exciting was it to have Brittany Presley do the narration for you for that?
Oh my God. So she did my last novel that came out last summer. It was called In the Hour of Crows. And it was, so we hired her to do that. And I remember hearing it for the first time thinking, oh my God, she is perfect. She is so perfect. And I was floored by it. So when we were talking about, my publisher sent me, hey, here's 5 people, maybe look at these and see you want to be the narrator. And my agent and I discussed it. It's like, can we get the, and it was not her included. I'm like, can we get the last lady to do it again?
Hmm.
Like, is that okay? And they're like, yeah, yeah, that's great. And so we sent it to her and she was like, she said yes. And the first time I never heard from her. It's all done through the publisher. They just
Right.
do all that. Out of nowhere, I get a message from her on Instagram and she's just like Dana exclamation points. She goes, I just finished reading the draft and it is probably one of the best books I've ever read. And I was like, oh, like you hope that, but you never expect it. And she's just like, I absolutely loved everything. And so it's funny,
Oh,
I didn't get to hear a sample until just recently, but she throws her voice so well for like other characters. And I'm like, she's really good. She's really good.
nice. And to have that continuity as well, to where now your listeners are able to, they're just like, ah, yes, that's a Dana book. Like they're able to just,
Yes.
know that. That is so amazing. You collect feathers. What's the rarest species that you have, and why is it so important to you? Or is the rarest one the most important?
Um, I will have to say, I have a bald eagle feather, and I'm a huge fan of bald eagles. So that is my rarest, but it is not my favorite. My favorite is a barn owl. It's so hard to find those, and I mean, as soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. It was
Uh-huh.
almost like, I got a feather, I got a feather. And no one seemed to care as much as I did. And then, my son was like, nerd, like I can't help it. Like I love it. So I probably have like 5, maybe 6 of those, and they are my treasures. They are my absolute favorite.
We were always told as kids, when you see feathers, that's like angels, right? So we collect them like angels, right? So when we see a feather, it's immediately like a messenger has come by and have left you just this calling card. So
Well,
my
I'm
girls, when they,
surrounded by them
yeah, see, there you
because I
go.
have like 400 feathers, so they must love me. That's
That is quite the collection.
and I've got so many feathers that I'm really picky now. I only pick up like if they're really good condition or if they're really rare. Like I only have 2 cardinal feathers. They're so hard to find a cardinal feather. So I mean that for me, I just like, all right, I'm gonna be a little pickier, but yeah.
What's a feather that you don't have that you would absolutely do a cartwheel to get?
Probably something like a flamingo feather or something, or like, go to a foreign country and get some kind of really cool parrot feather or something bright and colorful that you can't get here in the United States. I think
Uh-huh.
that would be really cool.
We're going to make that happen. We're going to make that happen. Um, Earlier on, before we segue into our last call, earlier we were talking about something that has become very near and dear to your heart, something that you're passionate for, a message that you want to give to those who are listening, either for themselves or for someone that they love. Do you mind repeating that with us?
Oh, with my stepmother.
No.
Yeah. I was telling you the story about my stepmother passed away a little over 25 years ago. And right after she passed away, my bathroom light was coming on and my TV was coming on in the middle of the night. And I thought it was so weird. And I was like, what's going on? And I thought it was maybe the neighbor because we had an apartment. Maybe the neighbor had a same TV we did. I wasn't sure what was going on. At the same time, my dad in Tennessee I get on the phone with him and he's like, yeah, it's so weird. My bathroom light keeps coming on in the middle of the night. The TV keeps coming on. And then boom, I realized that it's my stepmother. And I just feel like those that really love us, they never leave us. They're
Yeah.
always there. And it's not necessarily, it's just them missing us,
Yeah.
that still wanting to see and be a part of our lives. And I think it's nothing to be afraid of.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
even though that kind of freaked me out and made me unnerving, and I eventually asked her to stop, I did tell her, you can keep visiting in my dreams.
Yeah.
I can handle it there. And so occasionally she'll come to me in my dreams and we'll have conversation and hang out, but I just think they're always around you. They're your guardian angel as well.
That is so awesome. Now, have you and your husband or your family discussed things like, um, if I go first, this is how you know it's me. I'm going to turn the clock to 6:12, my birthday. I'm going to turn every channel on to channel 6 in the house. Do you guys have those conversations?
We have not, but I should. I should have it, And the funny thing with my stepmother turning on the TV, if you just turn on the TV, it'll go to the cable channel,
Yes.
right? She would turn it on, it would go to Snow Channel, which
Oh,
was even creepier. Like I have to think to figure out how to get my TV on Snow Channel. So I'll probably haunt them through the TV, like my stepmother did. I should have that conversation like, your mom's always watching you.
gonna be snow. Where are the listeners able to follow you and engage with you?
I'm on Instagram. That's where I stay most of the time. It's my name, straight up, no spaces or anything. You can also find my website at www.danaelmendorf.com. And then I have a Facebook page, but I don't go over there that often. But if you're a Facebook person, you can see those updates there.
So we've come to the part of our show that I have rebranded, and it's like my happy hour, but it's kind of one for the road. And but we're drinking water, so we're just gonna say this is the end of the show. And it's three rapid fire questions. So, what is your favorite grave bird color or species?
Hmm. I'm gonna have to say barn owl. That would be my favorite. Like I wish I would love for that to be for me, but I'd probably get something scraggly like a noisy goose or something like that. But I would love it if it was a barn owl, but I think at the end of the day it's gonna be some honky goose, but who knows?
One bird species you'd absolutely refuse to collect feathers from.
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know if there is one. I mean, I was, thinking vulture, but no, I have vulture feathers. I
Mhm.
don't think there's anyone that I would refuse to collect something from.
Yeah,
From.
yeah, I think that would have to say the same. So, if Grave Birds became a TV series, who would play Hollis and who would play Cain?
Oh my gosh, I am terrible at this because
Me
I
too.
don't know any of the actors or actresses that are there anymore. I would say, oh my God. Well, if I'm being crazy, I would love Henry Cavill, but that's just, we're wishful thinking there.
Listen,
It,
stranger things have happened.
I know. I think for the female, it would probably be maybe what's Don Johnson's daughter's name? Is her name Dakota or I can't remember, but not Dakota Fanning. That's the young
Uh-uh.
girl.
Well, is
No,
she so young anymore? I don't know.
no, she's not so young anymore. See, that's the whole point is all these people are older. It's like me saying, yeah, Marilyn Monroe and somebody. I don't know. I'm dating.
Somebody. Well, listen, thank you so much. Is there a question that you have yet to be asked that you have already prepared your answer for, but no one has ever asked it?
No, you asked it. It was about my ghost experience. So it was perfect. I was like, that's the only thing is like somebody asked me about my ghost experience because I want to tell them I have talked to the dead. So you did it. You were great.
Yay. I suck at the true or false, but I did great for the ghost questions. Well, thank you so much, Dana.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed chatting with you, and I would love to do it again for future books.
Excellent.
And this wraps up another episode of On the Air with Florenza. You may follow me on all social media platforms under Florenza Lee or via my website at florenza.org. Until next time, cheers.